Okay, it's Creators Week, it seems like, on the Creators channel. And Mosseri went live with creator Karen Chang, and they discussed topics like the algorithm, how to get verified, and how creators can monetize. And it seems like this whole Creator Week is going pretty great, because this interview has 34,000 views. Don't ask me why, but it seems like they have issues with the reach, huh? Instagram creators, the official creators team. But yeah, let's take a look at it.
A lot of creators on Instagram have had insane growth lately, but what I'm hearing from so many other creators is that their engagement is down. They feel like the algorithm is working against them. And so for the creators who are feeling this way, what is the best way to grow on Instagram in 2021?
Ooh, starting off with a good, easy one. I like it.
With a good, easy one. Of course.
Well, a couple different things I'll say is today, one of the things I want everyone to understand is that we can't guarantee stable reach. It's not that we don't want to, we would love to, but even if we stop changing how ranking works, what people are interested in changes, more and more people are joining Instagram and posting more and more things, so there's more competition, and you know, the world sort of moves around us all the time.
So first of all, it seems like the reason why some people might feel it's getting harder to grow on Instagram, and it is kind of true in some ways, is just because of the nature of the world, apparently, is what he says. Because there's more and more competition on there. It's harder actually to get seen because there's more content. You have to compete with more and more content, which should actually, you know, the takeaway for you here is, you know, create better content that your followers actually love. Easier said than done, obviously. But
Mother's Day is a good example. People post a lot of pictures of their moms, and then you're competing with that, and that's hard to compete with a mom. So we do want you to know that.
Good example.
We want to make sure that we do what we can to grow everyone's reach, and we want to do other things or create value for creators in other types of ways as well. But I want to be really honest about the fact that it can't.
They want to create other types then for creators than to give them more reach. That's something very interesting. And it seems like there's something behind the scenes going on where they try to create some totally new form of, I don't even know what he's talking about here.
Be stable for everyone. We try and rank to try and show people what they're most interested in. And we see that when we do that, they're happier with Instagram. They use Instagram more, and that actually creates more value for creators downstream because the pie overall is bigger. It's also obviously good for us at Instagram.
There you go. And yeah, we've talked about this quite a few times here on this channel. Basically, your job is to make people happy. By happy meaning staying longer on the platform, interacting more on the platform, because it makes Instagram happy. It makes obviously people happy as well. Thus, you will get more reach just by the nature of people actually staying on the platform more and longer. And yeah, also more engagement because people engage more when they're happy, right? Easier said than done. And it actually sounds really basic at the first glance, but it's actually not. It's actually a very important principle that we also talk about, by the way, in my free training, IGinsidersecrets.com, where we go a little bit more in depth about how to actually make that happen.
But we don't always get it right. We make mistakes. So trying to do more to improve, make less mistakes, and be more transparent about what we do. Now, you asked how to grow. There is no silver bullet. I am sorry. Every audience is different. What's best for your audience, I'm sure, is different.
I couldn't have said that better, my friends. I could not have said that better. I've been saying this for the past years. Ever since the switch started happening 2.5 years ago or something like this. Every audience is different. You have to know your audience before you can actually create content that's actually catered to them. Because without you knowing who to create your content for, who it is, the end person is, who will consume your content, you're just guessworking around and you're just dwindling around, and this is what the algorithm definitely hates, I can tell you that. For example, in my paid program at the Black File, the IG Black File, we talk a lot about audience, figuring out your audience, doing some competitor research, and crafting a content strategy that actually makes people be drawn into whatever it is that you do. And the important thing actually being measuring your data, seeing how your individual audience responds to that. For example, if you create some reels in a certain way that usually tend to perform better on Instagram in general. But you see, well, for me, it just doesn't seem to work out that way. For me, it works a little different. How can you figure that out? Mostly only by, learning, doing things, and analyzing things all the time. You have to be aware that each and every audience is different. Don't ever take anything at face value. If I tell you something, in general, this is what works better, it could be totally the opposite of what works actually on your account. So I actually want to encourage you to actually think for yourself and get all the data points for yourself to analyze what's working or what's not. And don't be afraid to actually branch out every once in a while, because otherwise you'll get in this rut and everything is the same again, which makes people less interested because it kind of becomes predictable. Bad, you know, and then your reach will drop down again because people just, you know, grow. And this is another thing that he said at the beginning. The world is constantly changing and evolving around Instagram. So you have to actually evolve with that.
A couple of things are good. I'm not going to just say post everything everywhere, which I think you might hear a lot, but I do think one of the most important things is to experiment, is to try new things.
Yeah, I actually did not watch this video before, but this is basically just what I said. Don't want to show off though, you know, just genuinely want you to, you know, get the best out of it.
Figure out what's resonating with your audience now, because it might be different than it was a half a year or a year ago. There are other broad things. I think, you know, leaning in the video is good. Videos need to be catching the first, you know, 2 seconds.
Another important thing, you know, we've known that, but just one more confirmation from their site. Video, you know, if you lean more towards video, this is obviously good. Plus, try to catch, you know, your viewers' attention in, you know, within the first 2 seconds as of the hook.
To get people's attention as they scroll by and feed, and that's good.
You know, something that I call, you know, getting people out of their autopilot, something that we also, you know, talk thoroughly here on the channel, obviously, but also in my black file, you know, basically getting people to stop scrolling and, you know, converting their attention to you.
I'm using hashtags is valuable.
Hashtags is valuable, okay.
Feed, you know, a couple of feeds a week, a couple of stories a day.
Couple of feed posts a week, couple of stories a day. This is what he says. I think it didn't literally mean that. I just think that stories is a daily thing. Feed posts don't necessarily have to be a daily thing, according to him.
But again, I wish there was a silver bullet. I wish there was just a formula I could hand over to you, but there unfortunately isn't.
I appreciate the honesty. I've definitely felt it's gotten a lot more competitive with so many creators jumping on. I noticed that one of the most effective ways for me to grow has been with Reels, and for a lot of creators it has been. So this question is from our international creators who don't have Reels in their country yet, which is, when is Reels coming to their country? Yeah,
this is another question that I get a lot in my DMs and down below here in the comments. Why do Reels not, yeah, why are they not there yet? And how come we don't have Reels yet? Instagram is bad for not allowing this to happen. And I'm sure he's going to answer it the same way that I'm going to do it right now. Basically, it has a lot to do with music rights. You know, they have to secure music rights, distribution rights, because it actually is streaming, which is in a legality term, you know, distribution. So as you might know, most of the music companies, they're kind of old-fashioned and kind of weird, at least the way that I know it. So it's probably a real challenge to actually get, yeah, music rights to that. And this is why you might not have Reels yet. Let's see what he says.
Yeah, it's a pain point. I get this. You should see my DMs. It's mostly verifying me and when Reels or music sticker come into my country.
I have nothing to do with that.
The challenge is music rights. It's just about us securing the rights for music in whatever, or with whoever the local institutions or companies are that have those rights. And so we're trying to expand as fast as we can to as many countries as possible. You will see more and more come online, but it unfortunately is not yet out everywhere. And we're trying to do all we can to get there as fast as we can.
All right, that makes sense. Good to know. Speaking of getting verified, I got this question a lot too. That blue check mark.
Verification, huh? Thumbs up if you've watched my verification video, but let's see what he talks about verification. Because
Mark, I know we all want it. So how do we get verified? What are you looking for in that mysterious application process of yours?
Oh yeah, we'll try to demystify this one a little bit. Generally, the hope with verification is to disambiguate people who are being impersonated. It's not supposed to be a status symbol. It's supposed to be, if someone's trying to pretend to be you, you can make sure people know who the real you is. That said, I get that there's a lot of appeal. People want it. It's that blue check mark.
Because it's
you
cool.
You can now apply in the app, which is a...
It just is cool if you have this. Just have to say it. With that being said, I get impersonated quite a bit. You know, also on YouTube in the comment section. So if somebody is commenting you with a WhatsApp number of mine and stuff like this, it is not me, okay?
A step forward that we did maybe a year or two now. We're mostly looking for notoriety. Are you of a certain level of prominence? To try and evaluate that in a more objective way, that we try to look for essentially media about you. So it has the press written about you in your country.
But this is something so interesting talking about this, and we've kind of drifted off, right? We're not talking about growing apparently anymore, but it's so interesting because Instagram, because you can have notoriety on the internet, just on the internet, without the press and the traditional media ever noticing you and getting the whole out of you, because you know, they're just in their own kind of bubble, and in the internet and social media are their own kind of bubble too. So let's just say you have a huge audience on YouTube, you know, hundreds of thousands, millions of people on YouTube, and the press don't know anything about you. They don't write about you because what the hell, why should they? Instagram's just looking for these offline things. I think it's a little bit old-fashioned if you ask me. Doesn't yeah, but they said they're gonna change something within the next year or two, which is a long time coming, but yeah.
We are expanding the number of media that we look at to try to make sure that we are being more inclusive with an eye towards equity. We're trying to make sure we are careful and cognizant of any biases the media has. Certain media in certain countries have biases, which can be problematic, which we then become subject to. So we're adding more and more publications over time.
Very good if they are actually unbiased, because sometimes what I noticed, a lot of people who say they're unbiased in the wrong way.
But usually if you're being denied, it's because we haven't been able to find a sufficient amount of coverage. And so if you have some coverage, attach that, send links to that, that helps.
Okay, that is super helpful. Now I know we have to try and get press coverage. I know there was a session for Creator Week earlier.
By the way, if you want to get press coverage, my agency does help people get this specific press coverage about them to you know, eventually get verified, for example. You know, granted, it's pretty expensive.
About how to do that, pitch to reporters. So that is really good to know. I'd love to talk about money. So as creators, we're all trying to get...
Anyway, I think that was it. If you guys want me to kind of react or, you know, speak about the rest of this whole thing, let me know down below in the comments, and I gladly watch this together with you, maybe in a live stream even. So all in all, nothing really new, but it's still nice to see that they're, trying at least to reach out to creators and kind of clarify how things are going on Instagram, and them actually recognizing that this was one of the most biggest critique points that they've had, because they're just being so quiet about how things work. With that being said, I'll keep you updated about the mystery of the taken down article of how the algorithm works. Don't ask me what happened there.